Okay, so I'm with Matthew Bryan-Amaning. Matthew, you are a British Ghanaian former basketball player. You are in Ghana on holidays, and you've made your way to the Spintex night basketball practice. Um, what have you seen so far in regard to the talent level, the little bit of observation that you've made, being an ex-pro who's played around the world in several leagues?
For me, I just think it's good. I love everything that they're doing down here. The coach, owner, everything that they've got going on, they're trying to build everything to be the right way. They're trying to give these guys a path to play high level basketball. I think the talent's there. Obviously, we've seen them falling short, but being the first Ghanaian team to be in the Elite 16 of the road to the BAL shows that the baseline is there. There are a few plays here and there away from obviously getting a BAL berth, so that's obviously what's next on the list.
Great. I'm speaking of the BAL. You played in the BAL, and this year we have Al Ali of Libya
Libya, yeah.
taking on Petro Luanda of Angola. We've had other teams also participating, police of Rwanda and all. Your impressions about the league being in its fifth season?
That's a great thing. Obviously, the more time that goes on, the league's just going to get better and better. I think it's a beautiful situation with the road to BAL. So you get different countries that would not necessarily be the natural powerhouse teams and countries of African basketball get a chance, and obviously Al Ali Tripoli being able to make it to the final. Obviously, everybody knows about Petro Luanda when it comes to African basketball. So, going against the African giant is going to be good for the country, obviously, of Libya. But I've got a close friend, obviously, in Jean-Jacques Boissy playing for Tripoli. So, they've got my support. But, yeah, I think it's just a great situation. The league's growing. I think a lot more eyes are on the league, and people around the world are seeing that there's obviously talent on the motherland.
Okay. You played in the competition in the early years or early stages. Now it's in this fifth season. What do you pick out in terms of differences or improvements from the time you played and what is happening presently?
I just think that it's growing in the right manner. I think using more places. Obviously now they've moved the finals from Rwanda to Pretoria, and obviously having earlier stages in Morocco and stuff like that at Rabat. All these things are great for the continent. As much travel as they're going to be able to do and have different conferences in different places is going to be great because you're going to find talent on all corners of the globe.
Okay. Great. I earlier mentioned that you are an ex-pro, so basically means you've
Retired.
retired.
Yeah.
Um, when did you know that it was time to just put it to rest and focus on the next phase of your life?
Well, for me, right before the BAL, for a year before I played in the BAL, I'd had a big surgery, hip surgery. So I was at that age where I was like, I didn't want an injury to end my career. So I did everything I did to fight back and play as high a level as I could. And I felt like after playing in the BAL with Ice Dwan and us being an underdog and making it to the finals were a lot of things that people didn't think we were going to be able to do. So I felt like leaving on a good high for me, you know what I mean? And then just kind of settling into regular life, non sports, So being comfortable and knowing that obviously it gives me an opportunity to travel, not for sports, you know what I mean, and just travel, see the world, do things that I want to do, and obviously back home in the UK, doing a few, giving back, doing a few tournaments here and there, camps and whatnot, and then obviously being coming back here and it's just something I'm trying to focus on, trying to see where there's opportunities, whether it be camps, whether it be academies, whatever it may be, but just seeing where I can, use my expertise when it comes to basketball and help the next generation.
Great. You mentioned camps. In the UK, we have quite a handful of basketball players that have emerged from the UK, made it into the international scene or international stage with the US college basketball and even in the NBA. Things look to have slowed down a little bit because there was a time where constantly you had at least a British basketball player
Yeah.
in the NBA, a lot of them thriving in the college basketball system. Um, what what's your belief or what are your thoughts about the slowness in the talent factory, more or less from the UK? Is it
It's
has attention been diverted to other
No,
sports?
it's not that attention's been diverted. There was never really much backing when it came to basketball in the UK. So everything that you did or these players that you did see, they were kind of doing it on their own merit if they was able to get out to the States and get into college and whatnot. So there's a few guys that's like playing in high major programs and stuff like that. And right now we've got a couple guys in Tosan. That's over with. I think he's with the Nets right now, and then Jeremy Shohan, who's with the Spurs.
Okay.
So we do got a couple guys, and obviously these guys are kind of quietly going about their business. But we've got guys that can play, but it's just we're trying to build it to be. I would say necessarily a European powerhouse, but you you gotta come in and respect it when you know that these guys have come from the UK.
Yeah. And the head coach of Minnesota Timberwolves, Chris Finch,
Yeah.
he coached in the
UK.
British
Yeah.
basketball league also. That's also a big plus for the British league. Now, so how's retirement treating you?
Can't complain. My body likes it.
Okay.
Not so much running up and down, but just being able to enjoy basketball as a fan instead of always criticizing or trying to go through everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. You've played in several countries across several leagues. How would you sum up your career? Um,
For me, yeah, for me, I wanted to use basketball as a tool to see the world. Um, I've literally played close to every continent possible, whether it be Europe, Asia, South America, obviously Africa. So I was able to, see the world and use basketball as a tool to see the world. My son, who's over here, he's been able to travel the world from a young age, see different parts of the globe. So I feel like being in a position to travel and see different cultures and how people live around the world is a beautiful thing, and it's not something that a lot of people are able to do. So I was just want to use that to my advantage.
okay. And finally, you are British and you are Ghanaian too, um, and both countries have enormous potential, but are yet to maximize that potential. In your view, what do you think each country lacks, respectively,
Um, so for the
or need
UK,
to do
yeah,
to
need
be
to
able
do,
to get
yeah.
to the next level?
I think in the UK, it's just a lot of structure, backing. I feel like there's a lot of talent at different levels, but if you have the infrastructure behind it and the right people that can help grow and harness the talent that there is, because it's a lot of raw talent, that would help for them. And then over here, I think for Ghana, it's just having the right people involved that's going to help get things on the right track. I think sorting out everything to do with the Basketball Federation and making sure there's a lot of pros, whether it be here in Ghana or of Ghana descent and playing in the States or playing in other countries, that would definitely proudly wear the black star on their shirt and want to represent Ghana. So the talent's there. It's just about obviously having the federation wanting to kind of get things on the right path.
Thank you very much.
No problem.